au quotidien. C'est sur Taïwan.
SonarFeed!
Yeah.
Welcome to Sonar!
Needs more unts.
Wow. Episode 251 to MLS. Never, ever threaten the Sounders again.
It would have been longer, but we ran out of room.
Never,
Not
ever.
in Ugo's lungs.
Ever, ever.
Ever, ever, ever.
Forever, ever?
What up,
What up?
boys?
What's up with you?
Yo, I'm glad to be
Welcome
back.
back.
Thank you.
Is that what happens after you don't do the show for a couple weeks? You come back with like 90 seconds of,
Why couldn't you do that when Real Doc Fake Name was here, man?
Man, sometimes you just...
damn.
He
Sometimes
wants to
you
embarrass
just,
you again, by the way.
He's always welcome to come in.
He
He's
is
a good guy.
Yeah.
We're probably due to get an update on Jordan Morris' injury, what he thinks, when we might get him back, even though it's probably
We could
not
just
till
talk to him
midway
about
next
cocktails.
year. That, too.
We could actually just have him rate cocktails from the Berliner live on the air.
The next bye week, we should make, because it's the Sounders, so there's inevitably going to be like 3 bye weeks in a month.
Right.
At some point. There's not, but the next time we have a bye week, it should just be cocktail hour with SonarFeed.
Yeah,
This
we
seems
should
like
maybe
a
do
lovely...
a cocktail corner and do like 5 minutes of it on every show.
It seems like a lovely idea. So maybe we should tell everybody who we are, what we're doing. Who are you?
Are you in charge this week?
I'm Adam.
No.
I'm trying to tweet out the link.
Mickey's in charge.
Hello. We're starting from left to right. Is that?
I mean,
Have
that's
got the
right
directions
to
correct?
left.
Right to left
Right
on the
to left.
screen.
You're on the right.
The other way. That's what I'm going. Mickey Turner ESQ on the Twitters.
Hugo Garcia at Me Vida Seattle on the Twitters.
I'm Dave Clark. You can find me at Better Than on Twitter. Everything. We only talk about Twitter.
That's right.
Okay.
What other platforms would you like people to find you on?
I'd like people to find Mickey at socceresq.com
Let's go.
Soccer-esque.
What
or
is that?
on Patreon.
Yes.
Also at SoccerESQ Patreon, right?
Maybe
That's
elswer.
Soccer
But that's a story for another day.
ESQ.com.
What about Mickey's PayPal account?
Yeah. Right.
You can send him a Ko-Fi.
Yeah.
Wow, going all in. Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooli.
Bougie.
And to my right, to the far left is...
He already we started with him.
Weigel.
He's the producer. He's sending out the links. That's
typing.
what he said last time.
Love
I know.
it.
I paid attention. Tom.
Shout out
I
to
paid
Mark
attention as
El
well.
Tigre. I'm not sure where you are, buddy, but
He's in Lake Chelan.
Drinking
oh,
wine.
Motherfucker.
He's literally killing bottles of wine. He texted me this afternoon, and he's like, my day is super rough. And, like, you know, when you're in a bad data place and the text comes through and the photo doesn't, I was like, today isn't a rough day, though. I don't know what you mean. And I'm literally typing my response. And then him with his feet up on a lounge chair comes up, and I was just like, delete. Ass.
I wonder how hot it is over there, though.
100 million
Holy cow.
degrees.
The good news is nothing there has air conditioning either.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
They just open, like, you open giant windows, and there's a breeze that runs through, and you drink, like, iced wine, and you jump in the lake.
I've never
or
been
that
to Lake
water
Chelan.
slide, or the water park,
Yeah.
or that little river. Sometimes you can jump in parts of it.
Has everybody here been to Lake Chelan? I
Oh,
have
yeah.
not. Yeah?
Fantastic.
Yeah, obviously Dave has. Tom?
Do you like wine and or cider?
I can dig
Like
on
Yes.
cider?
Those are kind of the,
Is this a real question?
those are the two
Right.
highlights of Lake Chelan and the lake.
You could also spell it with a T.
Tea Lake, Chelan
No. Anyway,
to cider.
I mean, to cider.
Twine.
Anyway, so it's Monday. We had some Sounders this weekend.
Yes.
Go Sounders, go.
We've had
Fight
a couple.
Sounders,
we've had a few
fight.
Sounders activities that have happened
Announcements.
since last we met.
Departures.
Yeah.
The departures lane.
pickles!
The departures lane in Soundersdom has been filled
Within
for a
reach.
moment. Wow. So the full kitchen is back at
At the,
The
Berliner
Berliner?
Pub.
It's super excited
Where are
about
we again?
this.
Yes.
Berliner Pub, 3rd and Main,
Fried
downtown
pickles!
Renton.
ahead
Ahead of the curve.
And the fried pickles are here, and they look really good. Although basically anything that has carbs in it looks really good to me right now, so don't let them come anywhere near me.
That-
Oh, no, good, thanks.
So we have a few things to talk about. I think last week we had 9.2 million things to talk about. This week there's slightly fewer, slightly less, one of those two. Sounders played a wonderful match over the weekend. We've got some Sounders women stuff that we can touch on at some point this
Yep.
evening. There's definitely some crew things. There's some Miami things. There's some, oh, look, you signed Wayne Rooney because then you go do a tour in China things. There's some Magnus Wolf Ikram things. So, yeah, so we've got some
Liga
stuff that we
MX
can touch on.
things.
I
Well,
there-
no.
I will tell
They
you,
did-
we were
yeah,
in Temple after the match on Saturday afternoon, and I can't remember, was that Chivas? That was not, it was. It was 0-0 forever, and then all of us got into conversations and then looked up, and all of the things had happened in like a 2-minute, 3-minute period. And you were like, did I just lose a half an hour? Which has happened for many people in bars. But as someone who didn't drink in the bar, I was very confused when I looked up and I was like, did we change games? Because this seems like a completely different experience. So I don't know if we want to just dig right into on Saturday.
Seems like a good place to start.
We could
Me
go
gusta.
from there.
Or do you want to start with the departure? Since that
I don't
became
know.
before the game.
Dave's sort of in charge.
Wait,
What did-
what?
I
Dave.
actually was going to declare that Mickey and you were in charge. Adam and I said that earlier, and we set up all this stuff. So
Would have been handy to know that.
Yeah, right.
you don't have to be in charge. It's
Okay.
just it's a joke.
We
We know that Mickey is far more versed in soccer knowledge than you are.
Yeah, I don't think that's true at all. So, I'm trying to think of things that are less true than that.
You've definitely bulked up right now. So Dave knows everything you could ever want to know about the departure of Magnus Wolf Ikram.
mainly because I'm reading Jeremiah's post for the first time. Because everybody was a little bit confused when they
And
originally waived him. At that time, the belief was the only way that you were going to get salary cap relief is if some other MLS team was dumb enough to pick him up.
Yeah.
And then they'd get him, and there'd basically be negotiations over who gets to pay how much. And that would have essentially only saved like 60 grand, but over half the season. So 30, like 2 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
Half of whatever the veteran minimum was, and that would have sucked. But instead, we find out basically Monday morning
Yeah, around noon-ish.
that it was a mutually agreed termination, which means the Sounders are no longer on the hook for his salary budget hit
Yes.
or the targeted allocation money that
Yes!
would
That's-
have
yeah.
been needed to use. And it essentially frees up about 200 grand between those two things,
Let's go.
roughly.
Yeah.
Show
that,
me the
that
money.
can be used.
To just give it to Christian Roldan right now.
I don't think MLS is going to let us do that based
Or
on how they
anything,
treat
probably.
Jovan Jones
Anyway,
Dave.
and Stephen Fry. But that's another story.
It's handy to have 200K. Already, the Sounders had space to do roughly somewhere between a 500 and 750K targeted allocation money type guy. Like, not like a Victor Rodriguez level or Osvaldo Alonso level TAM, but they were already looking at adding somebody who can make Ramon Torres, Kim Keehee kind of money. And now they're looking at splitting the difference between those
half a
two.
million.
yeah.
And that's kind of handy. That's really handy, particularly late in the season when you need to go on a run of essentially getting 2 points a game
Yeah.
over half a season.
You mean like July?
Like they've already done in July, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? We've been there before.
They're
we can do it
the
again.
third hottest team in the league right now. You don't want me to tell you who the
know what that
hottest team in
means?
the league is.
Yeah, I think we can all guess.
LFG is what that means. LFG.
Okay.
And my
What about
God, those are so
after
good.
yesterday?
I forgot what that means because I haven't met you in a long time.
After yesterday, is one of those teams the Loons?
Good Lord, they were.
Oh, actually, my bad.
I
I
said
forgot
last-
to rewrite that. Sounders are the 4th hottest team right now.
Yeah.
The hottest,
The New
without a
Yorkers.
doubt, are the Portland Timbers.
Boo! Boo!
13 unbeaten, and it's disgustingly good. And they're doing it without Audie because it's pretty clear now that they're going to get rid of Audie.
He's got to be gone by. Can I get ketchup?
We haven't figured out who the racist in Portland is yet. I am not willing to guess about that.
Probably good. Probably a good idea.
Portland's the hottest. The LA Galaxy are the 2nd hottest team in the league right now. If you hadn't
I
looked
mean,
at
it is warm in Los Angeles, so
LAFC were when I originally wrote my Let's Go Streaking post, it was before that game between the Angels and the Loons. And then things happened. The Loons crushed LAFC.
the Loons.
Basically, neither LA team knows how to play defense anymore.
Yeah.
And
Don't even try, really.
the way that the Galaxy can get away with it is they basically just outscore everybody.
Yeah.
Kind of like what LAFC was doing against everybody but the Sounders early in the season.
I believe in the history of Los Angeles sports, the Kings may be the only LA team to have ever played consistent defense at any point.
Yeah.
There was a Rams moment, I think, at a certain era, but
was maybe with-
LA's not really known for
No,
defense
they're
at
not.
all.
They're Flash, Showtime. Yeah.
The
Anyway.
Clippers once played defense. It was basically just by grinding games
Well, if
to a
you're
halt.
not going to play offense, you might as well play defense.
And the Galaxy used to play, like, when they had Omar
Fair.
Gonzalez and AJ De La
Oh, yeah.
Garza,
Mostly being
that
They
was
were
a
a pain in the ass.
really
As in,
great-
like, your teams aren't necessarily known
Yeah.
for their defensive prowess.
They're both LA MLS teams right now are trying to do the run and gun thing.
It's
Let's just be clear.
working.
LAFC was
Except for
roasting
yesterday.
people
Oh yeah,
for like a month and a half.
and both LA teams are currently above the Sounders, and it looked like, to be honest, LAFC looks like a certain playoff team still. Really, the competition that the Sounders have to worry about is the Galaxy and Salt Lake. Those are the 2 teams above the line that look weak enough for Seattle to make.
And
a
you have
charge.
games against both of them, and we don't have any games against LAFC
Yeah.
directly.
Already blew those,
Yeah.
both of them. One of
So-
them, remember when the Seattle, remember that first game in the season when you were like, oh, they looked really good in that loss. God, I miss that. Oh, yeah.
We just
Are we trying to talk about?
It was like we
I'm
fell
off
asleep for
subject
3
again.
months. So we were going to talk about Magnus Wolf Eichram
Yeah. Yeah.
and his departure,
Yeah.
which has benefited the Sounders with an international spot,
International spot, senior spot.
a slight amount of some sort of spendable.
Around 250
funding.
is the math, basically, in
Which,
some form or
if
another.
you look at who's under 250 in MLS, you could get some decent players.
Well,
We had a slight advantage of that first couple years. Yeah.
yeah, but it didn't cost anything.
yeah. So there's some fun stuff they can do. They do only have one senior roster spot open. They do, and a reserve spot. The reserve spot would essentially have to go to a homegrown player. There's some funky things you can do with transfer fees if it's all paid in TAM. If you get a youth player that's you're only paying the reserve minimum, which is mid 50,000, and you pay all of his transfer fee with targeted allocation money, he can take that reserve spot if he's under 24. But really think of that as an extra homegrown slot for all intents and purposes. So only one senior roster spot open. That senior roster spot can be about a $750K guy
Wow.
over a full season
Yeah.
contract.
Okay.
So, yeah, they can get somebody good.
Some of
And,
decent.
yeah, really good. as a matter
Any
of fact.
names on who we might be getting?
Not yet, unfortunately. I know Nico is digging around. He had a couple of
Nico's
not
working
fully
something.
developed hits.
There's the left back out in the Eredivisie. I forget his Mikel Nilom. I'm going to mess it up. But that's an interesting opportunity. But both Garth on the pregame show for radio and Schmetzer on with Softy today said that it's likely to be an attacking piece. And it's interesting because if you look at the bench right now, they're willing to put a lot of money on the bench. We just saw a bench with 2 DPs and 2 TAM players on it.
One of which didn't even get close to seeing the field.
2 didn't come close. Torres didn't come close to seeing the field either.
That's true.
So, can we just talk about the one thing that I feel is a little bit of an inconsistency in the responses about Ikram's departure, which was his style of play being about putting the ball forward and players running onto it, and not having Morris made that not work out so well, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
But in the same week that you sign someone who's really good at running onto the ball
and almost scored this weekend
you
on set
don't play
ball.
that guy. You don't even send that player to Atlanta, and then he's gone between then and the next week, which tells me it was a lot more to it than just that. And not to say that that was just a comment of convenience, but it was a little weird because if they hadn't signed Rui Diaz, I don't know if I would have this opinion, but I was like, but you literally just signed that player, so what happened?
Yeah. I haven't been able to find like anything like definitive on that, but there's like stuff on the background that leads me to think that your premise is correct. That
That's
it
okay.
was
Like we don't have to know
things,
everything,
but I can't say anything for sure about it.
We don't know everything about other departures that have happened this season, which, well, I mean, Dave knows, but
what other departures?
Kidding. You know the other one with the thing and the stuff. We'll talk about it offline. Just let it go. Stop looking so quizzical. Do you remember the other player that you wrote something about? Why they were? Yeah. Anyway,
I think it's fair to.
It felt like there was something more to it, and it's okay.
I think that's a fair
team chemistry
way to look at it.
Team chemistry, minutes, whatever the hell it is, that shit's all important, and someone has to be in charge of managing it. And if the diplomatic way of handling it is to let a player leave and get another deal elsewhere, and
just
have
take
it be
the heat.
like no harm, no foul, and you can eat it because you are a team, frankly, in a little bit of a bummer spot where you can eat that and let that player walk away. More power to you. It just like the specificity of the comments were a little odd to me in that case.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you're never going to know the full story, and they're
sure.
never going to tell you the full story.
I think we're all just so used to the access that we get, where we're like, "What do you mean?"
Locker room unspoken rules.
Yeah, exactly.
What
I
happens
think
in the locker room stays in the locker room.
I think that's
Unless you're
a fair way to put it.
documentary.
I mean, Dan wants to point out that he guesses he was just a lone wolf.
That is absolutely awful.
We actually just banned Dan from the show.
Yeah, please.
Right here while we're sitting here. Adam, you can do that? No, you can't.
We do know that early in the
you
season,
are
we
encouraging
do
Dan.
know that Schmetzer was critical of Wolves' defense. It was why Alex Roldan got so much playing time. And I don't know. Dude got a lot of playing time and didn't do much with it.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this letter that they sent out? My brother just tweeted out that
we have
a letter from the ownership group.
It's in your mailbox right now.
What's this about?
They're sorry they suck and things are going to change. That's the short version.
It's basically them saying like, our preseason is over. We're playing for real now. Sorry about that long preseason.
It says undefeated in July. Not really.
They're going to
re-up for next year.
It's
oh
one
yeah,
of
you're
those
going
kind
to
of
get your
ones.
re-up notification in like 2 weeks. By the way,
Did this come out today?
it was in your mailbox today. But see, the Sounders don't understand.
If you
most
had
people
gone
don't
home, Mickey.
check their mail every day anymore. Because why do you want to see that, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when did the letter actually go out?
it's in your mailbox today.
Well, it was dated the
Yesterday was Sunday.
16th.
They mailed them Friday after work.
I didn't get it today.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't get anything. This is outrageous.
Adam's responsible, meaning he has kids of all of us, so he checks his mail more often than we do.
Oh my god.
So yeah, you're going to get them over the next couple of days, and it's basically a message that says,
Our
we're
bad.
sorry we sucked, and we're going to do fun stuff next year, but we're not announcing what that is.
Somebody said Jim Carrey's signature looked like an autograph.
It always does.
Now, it's interesting. This is only the second time that I've seen,
Paul
maybe the
Allen,
third
right?
or fourth time that I've seen all of their signatures.
Yeah. It was the statement last year after we had the incident in Vancouver.
And when you
the
say
team, we, I mean literally we, meaning me, you, other people, not sitting here. We as Sounders fans, that statement was the first one I remember specifically that had Paul Allen on it, where the team had given its specific support.
there was one when
to
they
language.
announced basically the team.
Lisa.
There's a press release that had signatures from everybody. There was the
Refund of the LA.
anti-fascism isn't a political statement that they made. That had all 4 signatures, and then this letter. There might have been something World Cup 2026 that had all 4 of theirs, but there was so much email with that, there was so much stuff they sent out with
Yeah.
that. But basically, you never see all 4 of their signatures on the same piece of paper.
Interesting.
So it's kind of significant. It's an admission that things were
Like
not
in
going well.
They fucked up.
Like in
But
the biblical sense.
moving forward.
No.
So that's the letter.
Seems to be going around. San Jose did something similar.
I mean,
And
San Jose
they-
needs to
they-
do a number of things,
Yes.
to be clear. Which, by the way,
Like substitute a guy
when
after
we
a
were
4-minute
discussing
first half appearance.
when we were discussing the 96 things to call this show, one of them was we cracked the top 20. Aside from having 20 points, there are 4 teams behind Sounders. One of them is the team that the Sounders play on Wednesday with a whopping 12 points.
A team that hosted Manchester United on Sunday.
0-0 draw in front of 14,000 people. The stadium
Was it only
empty.
14?
I think so.
At Levi's Stadium, too. They
Yeah.
didn't even play at Avaya.
Yeah, they could have gone to Avaya for that.
Like,
Yeah.
they didn't get Avaya
I saw
numbers
photos on the
in
empty
Levi's.
seats, Twitter account.
That's-
It was bad.
Here's a news flash, man. MLS fans are not going to support friendlies anymore. It doesn't matter where you are. And it's been true around the country right now. USL
Yeah.
teams are showing up for those friendlies, but most of their stadiums only sit like 6, 7, 8,000
Yeah.
people. But MLS teams aren't showing up for the friendlies.
Yeah. It's about over, I think, as far as that
Like,
that gimmick.
a city will show up if it's
Yeah.
foreign teams, but they won't. They don't want to see their MLS team in a friendly anymore. Now the good news was, of the guys that played 41 plus minutes, all but the keeper are guys that are regular starters. So they should be a little bit more tired.
Yeah. Another round of margaritas, please. You the man.
Which should make beating the really, really, like, we know the Sounders are kind of bad right now. San Jose has been bad all season, and they literally subbed a dude off after his 4-minute first half appearance.
You know who's not bad?
So,
The person who
they're
made
kind of
these
a trash-
pickles.
Nico Ladero.
dude, those
Oh my
pickles are
God,
awesome.
So good.
You should just say keep them coming.
No,
I know.
we're not going to be able to work through it.
Yeah.
So, did you just get breaking news?
There's a rumor from PortugueseSoccer.com that I don't know if it's real enough or not, but supposedly the Sounders are interested in Paulo Hurtado of Vitoria Guam.
I can pronounce that. Reportedly offered $1.5 million for Paolo Hurtado of Vitoria Guimaraes.
Yeah, but in Portuguese, not Spanish.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's
By the way,
pretty much the same thing. You guys understood pretty much what I said.
I think that we've gone over some sort of like limit of people with red hair here at the Berliner. I've been told that someone's hair isn't real. Let's just go with
Not
it.
real.
There's like an attack that's happening.
All the women who are here are apparently sold.
Punnett squares. are
There's
just
no souls
exploding
intended.
everywhere. That was for Emily. Hi, Emily. Anyway, so let's get into Saturday's match. I think
Oh, he's Peruvian. Sorry.
sign all the Peruvians.
So the Spanish made sense.
So I would say most people went into Saturday feeling not like overconfident, but I think people felt good about the match.
I saw James's tweet like, "I guarantee a victory." I was like, "I feel good."
I did predict 4-1, so
Nice.
I think that what we got on the field probably meshed with what people had hopes for the day.
Yes.
Would people have liked one more goal because tacos? Yes.
God, I miss the
And
tacos and haircuts.
Raúl el Rulas. That would
But-
have been.
Tacos.
But you still did get tacos,
Two.
but only two.
2 tacos does not a meal make.
That's at Taqueria.
You know
El
you're
Rincito,
allowed
which
to
you can't
buy
find in the
another
Seattle city
taco.
limits, but those of us blessed enough to live in the suburbs can find it quite easily.
Fair.
And just a hot tip for y'all on these tacos: they have an off-the-menu taco item.
I saw your tweet.
They're taquitos dorados de papa, which is basically mashed
holy
potato. I know, dude. That's how I felt when I found out about it. They're potato tacos. You just, you just ask for them preparados, prepared. They put a little salsa on top, a little lettuce, queso fresco. Oh, I had them this weekend. Highly recommend them. Potato tacos. Is that what you're talking about, Dave? When you say
No, my
holy
whole
shit?
shit.
No,
Dude.
not at all, actually.
The dude is he didn't make the Peruvian national team for the World Cup, but he was a regular during World Cup qualifying. And he's 27.
Oh,
A winger with 11 goals in yeah.
talk to me. Let's go.
scratches
Let's
an itch,
go.
that's for sure.
Viva Peru! Viva Peru!
I heard the funniest thing. Tim Booth, the AP reporter who covers like every sport for the AP out here, they sent him out to Russia. I'm just gonna babble about this right now. Sorry,
I like it. I like it. Don't
They
apologize.
sent him
Just do
out
it.
to
We're
Russia
just gonna listen.
for the World Cup.
Yeah?
and he was there for the Peru game in Samara, and he said
Versus who?
30,000 people showed up for that Peru game.
Versus
in
Australia?
Samara.
30,000 Peruvians or
30,000 Peruvians.
Yeah.
The stadium holds 45.
No, it was without a doubt. They were like the second or third most attended fan base of the World Cup. They showed up. I mean, it was 1982, man. It was 1982 since the last time they made it. And Peru economy-wise is doing pretty well. My buddy, I have a coworker that's from down there. They're doing okay, so they're able to make those trips to Europe.
Oh, big shout out, by the way, to Smashly.
Smash
We're doing all the things.
breaking news.
We were getting like minute by minute Smashly updates on ECS Slack about the party with like 36 Peruvians and the number of specific songs about Rui Diaz that they already have.
Yes. I also loved the Atlanta fans were so proud that their fans met their new signing in the Atlanta airport. And I talked shit to Dirty South Soccer because our new signing got met at the Atlanta airport by Sounders fans. Like, great. You met him at the hometown airport?
Yeah.
Tired.
Been there, done that.
Meeting them after a 9,000-mile flight in an away airport when they've barely encountered the United States? Wired.
You just tired and wired?
Dude, I love the 90s.
Wow.
I missed
I'm
this,
gonna
by the way,
cheers
y'all.
you because
I'm gonna cheers y'all.
Yeah.
'Cause I missed y'all.
I'll tell you.
It was.
yeah.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers them by proxy.
Cheers. I miss y'all.
The margaritas
Cheers.
at the Berliner are quite good, and I strongly recommend them. You can go to the Berliner pub at 30
I will
Main,
second
downtown
that.
Renton.
Speaking of Atlanta, Schmetzer was not particularly thrilled with the lack of punishment from MLS as to Joseph
On the
Martinez.
headbutt? Yeah.
Called it egregious that he got away
that
with
was
it.
today's,
That
yeah.
was today at after practice.
Speaking
that
of
was
which,
some bow.
Atlanta wants a significant amount of money for Almiron.
Like that's what I figured they were going to
Like
go
a
for
lot.
because they purchased them for like 10. So you were only if they sell them for 20, they're still only going to get
Are they talking
2/3 of that. So
25?
that'd be like
They're talking
12,
25.
13
Like,
million.
25 to 27.
The kid in Vancouver is going to get 15.
12
Yeah,
to
but
15,
Vancouver gets all of that.
because he's a
He's
homegrown
homegrown.
player.
And
You get
15% of the future of any
No.
future. What? I saw that on the.
That was Kellen Acosta. That's the Dallas, Colorado move, not the Vancouver
No, I'm
move.
pretty sure it was the Vancouver
Well,
one.
yeah, they'll get a sell-on fee because he's so young. Sure.
There won't be selling, but
If he
as
gets-
part of the training and solidarity and other stuff, basically,
Oh.
as he's sold up until the age of 23, they get a portion of it.
Oh, got it. Is that 15%?
5 to 10.
Yeah, I think it's like
It's-
3% per year,
Yeah.
up to age 20. It's a deal.
Don't read those rules; they suck.
Yeah.
This dude has 11 goals and 5 assists in the Portuguese league last year.
It seems like a considerable
14.
amount of
Oh,
goals.
on a garbage squad that got sent down, and they can't afford their €550 a month.
A month.
Hey,
rent.
speaking of
Oh,
garbage
oh.
squads,
Mm.
Thierry Henry,
With France?
Belgium?
and they're talking about him
Belgium?
coaching Villa.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That's a rumor. Anyway, so let's talk about Sounders.
Yeah.
So, we had a number of really awesome things happen on Saturday. One,
Nico!
I missed the handball in the box because I was bringing Tifo out to the concourse. So missed that, came back to a goal celebration, which, by the way, if you can do it, walk out of a tunnel at the exact moment that a goal is scored. It's amazing. It makes you feel like a rock star. And yet no one is
Nobody
clapping
cares.
for you.
Good to be here.
They're just all cheering, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to cheer too. This is great.
That's awesome.
So we had a really good Nico Ladero day. We had Ozzy Alonso step on just before the half with a bummer of an injury on Victor Rodriguez.
Had a great callback on the VAR on that.
We had what might have been the quickest booth to the ear of a referee in MLS. It was like call and then immediate VAR.
I was radio only for the game, so what I need to know is, did he look at the screen to overturn it, or did he just trust the booth?
No, he went to VAR.
He went to the video.
Yeah.
Because
But it was like-
listen to just
Yeah, they could just tell
They
him.
immediately
they're like,
told
"Hey,
him to
you're
go to it."
wrong.
Yeah.
They have the option to say, "I believe you," because they do that sometimes with the AR and the fourth official. When they make a call, they're told, "Oh no, you're wrong." On like handballs, sometimes we see that in the box. So he had to go to the video itself.
He went over.
But it was
And
quick.
A great moment was then we sang That's VAR in the section. And it was literally like, that's VAR. That's VAR. And then it just kept going. The Capos were like, please stop. And people just kept singing. And it was amazing because VAR has not been helpful.
It's had
to
a
Sounders.
rough weekend.
Yeah.
You mean it didn't notice somebody elbowing another player in the face
Those
twice?
don't count.
Because he's short, it doesn't count.
Yeah, no. Those don't count.
That was the defense from Atlanta.
So other than that, a fairly...
I'm still upset about the Atlanta game. Can you tell?
no.
Just a little bit.
No. A fairly well-balanced game.
And the
from a
debut of our new
offense and
DP player,
defense.
too.
Dude stepped onto the field, goes into the area for a corner, and we were talking, and Dan, who's in the chat, we were like, if he scores on a header, it's like legend status right now. We're like Marshall or Rui Diaz. And the Nico corners were pretty on for a good chunk of this game. Those were pretty solid. But what was it? One shot on goal for Rui Diaz this game?
Yeah.
It reminded me of there's an Eddie Johnson U.S. national team game where he subbed on and
yeah.
basically ran forward for the
yeah.
corner and then did head it in
I'm
for
pretty
When
sure
he had the
that's-
demolition. No, that was
that wasn't the Columbus game. It was with
Yeah.
the U.S. national team
Mhm.
where
Demolition Man haircut.
yeah, and he
Was it when
literally
he asked for the money?
no, that was the Columbus game
Oh,
where he asked for the
Columbus.
money. We interviewed him here. You were here for it.
I remember now.
But with the U.S. national team, he ran from the center line all the way in,
Yeah.
and basically, as he's sprinting up, they serve the ball
Yeah.
in, and he just takes a flying running start. So we nearly got that in the Sounders version.
I'm gonna repeat. These pickles are amazing. Oh my god!
New podcast next week.
We're gonna
You go eat.
pickles and cocktails.
Which
A SonarFeed
dipping sauce
experience.
goes best with the fried pickles? Find out now. It's actually probably all of them. I agree. So, all in all, I think from a supporter standpoint, I know people I talked to before the match went in feeling pretty good about Sounders for the first time in a really long time. And they've had ups and downs. And at home, for years and years and years, even when Sounders are bad, you go into home matches and you're kind of like, we're at home, we'll figure it out. This season's been a little bit clunky on that front. But, like, that felt good from first thing in the morning, through the final whistle. And that was different
Yeah,
than I remember in a really long time.
I agree.
Well, the
I was radio
Colorado
only.
game.
Yeah.
They had the Colorado game, 2-1 win there. Pretty much dominated that, but it's also only Colorado.
Yeah.
One of the clearly garbage teams in the league this year. There aren't a lot of those. Like,
San Jose.
in Colorado, Montreal.
We're starting to get out of that.
Well,
DC
DC
is not even terrible. Were on the road for half the year.
Yeah,
and
DC
still
has
got decent amount of
18
points.
games left, and like 12 of them are at home.
Wow.
Yeah, more than that,
they'll
I think.
probably go on a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Good point, Bailey
Also,
said they were terrible last
interesting
year.
research that came up that I didn't put on Sounder Heart yet. After that four-game streak that, again, the Sounders are the fourth hottest team in the league right now. It's interesting because the West is actually much better than the East for all the BS that people put out there. Now,
Is that like this month?
No, like
No,
for the
they
season.
basically
Really?
they
The season
they
record?
caught up. They caught up essentially.
There are three great teams in the East.
Yeah.
And better than any team in the West, except that two of them lost their coach within the last month. The West has Dallas as its best team, but
But like now they have Baji and he's going to score what?
It's possible.
1.4 million goals just against Houston.
but there are only four teams in the East that have earned more than 1.33 points a game. That's basically, if you are a completely average team where you split your results evenly between win, draw, loss, or win, loss, draw, whatever order, 1.33 is the average team, and there are only four teams in the East above average. Right? So if you look at the West, you're on the Google page. MLS Standings has the full thing. If you look at the West, it's something like 7 teams are 1.33 or better.
Yeah. What?
And that doesn't count the Sounders, who we think are much better than their record.
Wait, I'm going to go to MLS Soccer. Major League Soccer.
Major League Soccer.
I'm on it now.
Got soccer.
See, look at that. The fifth and sixth teams in the East are like garbage. Oh, sorry. New England is at exactly 1.33 a game, and if you think they're any good, you're wrong.
They are they're on a bit of a tailspin.
Isn't it weird? The West is a lot better than the East.
Let's look at the Shield standings.
Well, yeah, East, 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 and then 6 teams from the West. That's your Shield standings.
Yeah, I don't know. No, but like, Sounders were nowhere near this.
Yeah.
They were, what, 0.8 something?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they were. I
Like
mean, there was a
2
time
weeks ago.
Oh, by the way, the Sounders
like
are still ahead of Toronto.
Ago, and Colorado,
Well-
and DC, and San Jose.
You're always expected to be ahead of those teams,
Yeah.
but still ahead of Toronto by a point.
What?
Yeah. No, Toronto's been
Turns out the greatest
bad.
team in MLS
Yeah.
history, not that great.
But I gotta tell you, the thing to me that jumps out is so
good.
There's a
the
lot
teams
of
at the
negative
top-
goal differential.
The teams,
too.
right? The teams at the top, so 1 through 9, have a positive. Well, I'm sorry,
for
0
the Crew.
to positive who are even. So the first 9 have 0 and up, GD.
Yeah.
And then below it, it's negative, negative, negative. Somehow the 13th
If you-
place Revs are 1.
If you've
Then
forgotten,
the Dynamo in 14th are plus 10,
Wow.
which tells you something about
Also-
their season.
Real Salt Lake has like a -9 and is currently the 6th best team in the West.
But like Sounders,
Part of that is because the Sounders screwed up that back-to-back.
But Sounders they hung at -7 for a long time, and it's now -5. That's really telling about their season.
Yeah, Orlando's trash, Chicago's trash, Colorado, San Jose trash.
Whitecaps,
Can you repeat that again? Just the same way. Let me hear that.
Impact. Somehow RSL is only -8. But the thing with RSL is it's 31 and 39. Like some of these teams have just let up like absurd numbers
Yeah.
of goals.
Oh, shitty defense is the word of the year. Like
Like you-
outside of Atlanta,
Yeah.
Seattle, Sporting KC.
Yeah.
You draw or you lose
yeah.
0-4.
Here, let me-
Like there's no middle ground for a lot of these teams. Other way.
Oh, no, that's the right way.
You want that way. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot about Red Bull.
Red Bulls.
The 2 New York teams whose both coaches got promoted and nabbed by teams in Europe have good defenses. Dallas does as well. But if you go to, I like American Soccer Analysis because they have sortable tables on their expected goals and expected goals against. 538 does as well for a slightly different variation on that. There are essentially 5 good defensive teams, and the Sounders have been a good defensive team for the entire season. One of the what's most
Stefan
interesting
Fry.
about that is for all the like injuries that we've seen in the attack. Like if you look at the defense, like Nuhu starts 75% of the games. Chad Marshall starts 90% of the games.
Yeah.
But Kim Key and Ramon Torres and Kelvin Leardom and McCrary, you look at the defensive midfielders. We've seen Jordi Delem and Christian Roldan,
Yeah.
Osvaldo Alonso. Like
Yeah.
that back seven
7.
has had a lot of variance to it, and yet still the defense has been amazing. It's predominantly probably
What you're
because
saying is there's a chance.
they can easily
we
go.
knew. Let's just be clear. There was a chance the whole time.
Oh,
No matter what we all like to say.
but
the
now
fact
there's a
that you
chance.
can hit, like, not that goals against are any sort of be-all, end-all. The fact that the Sounders are tied for second in goals against is kind of horrifying if you really think about it. So
Consider-
the Sounders
yeah.
at home are 3-4-2. That's win, lose, draw.
That's bad.
Oof, yeah, that's awful.
FCD, also with 23 goals against, is 7-0-4. No losses at home, same goals against for the season. Like, that's staggering if you think about it. That's
Depressing.
defense
Depressing.
and keeper.
So remember the Ramon
Yeah, I remember
Torres
when we got
saga
unbeatable at home. Yeah.
when Hefei
Yeah.
took on because there is hope or have faith, and now we find out that Raul Rui Diaz has a tattoo in English that let's see if I remember it correctly. Somebody call me on this. His tattoo is it's about hope as well. It's always have hope, or there is always hope, something along those lines.
In English.
But it's in English, yeah. So I kind of find that fitting for, like, you bring in the guy who's supposed to rescue the year.
Who's your hope?
He's the hope. He is our hope, and
In English.
he's got that that tattoo, and so yeah,
If
I'm really excited for this season. Can you tell?
according to sports club stats, if we go 8-4-3, we have a 50% chance of making the playoffs. That's
8-4-3.
That's what we
That's
need to
about
do.
what they've done the last 2 years.
50%
8-4-3
to make the playoffs.
Thinking more 10-3-2.
Woo!
10-3-2 gives us a 99.4% chance of making the playoffs.
They're getting 10 wins in the
Let's
second
go.
season.
God. I love
So,
listening to Dave
They
wax
need
poetically.
those 10 win. Like Minnesota, at Minnesota has to be a win.
Yeah.
Oh, it will be. No question.
So it's never lose hope.
And
Never
San Jose.
lose hope.
And San
And he
Jose this
is a
week.
massive Dragon Ball Z fan.
Oh, I'm a fan of that too.
2 polls for days.
I think Bread's already made like 6.
I don't know what that is.
Like, at least.
Don't watch
Dragon
too
Ball
much
Z.
anime.
No.
It's a
I think
anime show from
he
Japan,
he's
obviously.
guys.
Okay.
He's
But it's
he
also a
only scored
collectible card
40,
game.
Yeah.
40 goals in
There's
70
video
matches.
games that are kind of fun to play.
Is that the one
it-
that has like a yellow dinosaur?
No, that's Pokemon.
Wait, Denver? The last
What are you
dinosaur?
doing with your time? Attending community council meetings? Yeah, what the hell?
And eating tacos.
Yeah, so we're really hyped. We kind of skipped the game because I just like the big picture stuff. Sorry.
Oh my god, dude, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Let's go.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how hype are you?
11.
7.4.
Well played, sir.
Jeez, man.
I'll drink
I'm as hyped as this bird that's up in here.
If we go 7, 4 and 4, there's a 7.9% chance we make the playoffs.
7 wins is bad.
Yeah, that's
8
that's
wins
good.
is basically the corner is the
Okay, let me look at the games and tell you
That
guys which
8
ones we're
wins-
going to
no.
win.
Yeah, 7, 4,
Interesting
and 4.
thing-
That's only 25 points. That
Yeah.
only gets us to 45.
yeah. That,
Not enough points.
It's kind of in that 48 to 49 range where Magic happens. The
I
Minnesota
like
game's very
Magic.
important. Minnesota's interesting. Their next
I'm gonna
7
tell,
games.
I'm gonna tell
only
my
one
girl
of
to
them
put
is
out all her
and it's the
crystals.
Sounders game.
Yeah.
They have a 5
All
game
the
road
crystals.
trip coming up. So you can kind of finish them off.
San Jose will win.
Unfortunately, Darwin Quintero.
Minnesota United.
I said last week he was the best
Dallas.
player in the league.
He
He's-
seems to be like a decent player.
Vancouver,
Remember when he hat tricked the
Philly,
Sounders?
Colorado.
I honestly think he's the best player in the league right now.
Who is?
Quintero. Darwin Quintero.
Yeah, I wish we would have signed him too.
Boy, he would have fit perfectly
Yeah.
with the Sounders.
Yeah,
Would've been
and I would have been
unbelievable.
okay even if he played for the shittiest team
Interesting
in
that
Mexico.
the
He's so
June
good.
Player of the Month conversation is really interesting. Or wait, the July Player of the Month is very interesting because Joseph Martinez has 7 goals.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah. He shouldn't have... He should have...
Ahead
4,
Damn.
Because he shouldn't have played last weekend.
Only 1 assist, and Quintero has 6 goals and 3
Yeah.
assists.
And won't get $25 million.
They both
And 0
basically have
headshots.
the same. Their teams basically have the same record. It's a 2-horse race for the Player of the Month, and if I remember correctly, neither of them have a midweek game like the Sounders do. So that's some
So-
league-wide stuff. What else is up?
Well, I just want to keep touching on Saturday's match.
How
think
about the
skipped
new Peruvian Barra / fan club?
a number of Peruvians rolled up.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
They've been rolling up
Pioneer
to
Square.
practices. They've been rolling up to the
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, they've been at the practices last week. They were at a couple.
So just for clarity, there's been back channel negotiations, and we've been told that the Peruvian crew has tickets for the rest of the season, and they appear to be straight across
147,
the
149.
Oh yeah, the Hawks Nest was
Yep,
full of Peru shirts.
for real. Also, 114, 15, like in the corner there. Also, a lot of Peruvian shirts
There's a really large Peruvian community in Seattle.
in Seattle. Yeah,
And the surrounding cities.
yeah.
Large.
I
very
did
large.
find during that last international tournament, there were a couple of countries. Heck, I sat in a section
The World
of
Cup?
Bolivian
Yeah, I was about to
people.
say,
no,
yeah.
the one that was in Seattle. I
Copa
sat in
America?
a section of Bolivian people who live here, and I'm like,
Yeah,
holy
yeah.
shit!
And I remember that Copa America match. Peru played really well, man. It was a fun game. My dad was surprised.
Raul Ruidiaz played in that game.
How do you do? You remember? Nah?
I don't recall. Yeah, he enjoyed the city, so that helped.
That's the advantage of hosting international matches, by the way. Clint Dempsey
Yeah.
plays here with USA versus Panama
2013.
and hangs out with Eddie Johnson and then announces like 4 months later, you know what? I have 3 places I'll play in MLS, and if it's one of them, I'll go, and if it's not, I won't. And it was Seattle, Toronto, LA. And obviously Joe Roth got his target. And then Raul Ruidiaz plays here. So Roman has played here internationally. So
Oba.
when did Nigeria play here?
Oh, never mind.
So let's hope we host Copa America the next one.
2020? Are they thinking of doing that? Is that confirmed yet?
It's not confirmed yet.
No.
Or heck, let's look over the Gold Cup since. Actually, I don't want another Gold Cup here.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You pulled up Clint Dempsey's tweets.
Did you see the one from today?
He tweeted
Clint,
today.
yeah,
Is
he
he
At
dead?
tweeted.
EJ. He
His handler
tweeted. So
tweets.
EJ tweeted, really loving the progress my 6 and 7-year-olds are making. We do a lot of ball work, exercises that focus on balance, stability, dribbling, coordination, skills, and technique. Then tactically, and it's an Instagram photo. And Deuce quote tweeted him and said,
His handler quote.
when I visit Florida with the fam, I need to get you to train my kids, bro. Keep doing you, homie.
All right, maybe that was Dempsey.
Peace emoji. Like, I actually think that was
That was probably
him.
actually Clint.
It wasn't a
Dempsey tweeting.
Colgate or Listerine or whatever that is.
Yeah, that was-
Listerine, right?
Not a promoted or ad tweet.
And by the way, Deuce's avatar is just him holding a big-ass fish. So if you haven't looked, on brand.
That is not a Team Was avatar.
No,
Isn't he Wasserman?
I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The assumption, by the way, if you're ever wondering who the agent is for an American soccer player, just guess Wasserman, and you will be right 80% of the time if you're any good.
So apparently Rui Diaz said that he found great Peruvian food in the area based on a wreck. So
That wreck was from... Shit. I can't remember. Oh, Rosella.
from Rosella.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Ashley's wife, San Fernando in the Central District. It's San Fernando chicken.
Oh, yeah, which is like the most insanely good chicken.
The pollo salabrasa.
Yeah, but
don't
you,
know anything about
but you
that.
have to get
Pollo
anticuchos.
when
You
I
have to
saw
get
her-
the anticuchos there.
I'm like,
in Linwood.
oh, the Linwood one, not the
That's
not the
that's-
CD.
That's the one that I
That's what.
No, the
Adam
one by the
No,
by
San
the
Fernando.
restaurant,
It's
though?
up. It's the same one,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
up the hill from Chinatown.
Oh,
It's
okay.
on Jackson
yeah, yeah.
and 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
Off Jackson and 23rd. Yeah,
The one in the Rainier Valley.
Rainier, but it's like right off. Like it's not deep in the Rainier Valley. It's like at the very. It's on the.
Jackson and Rainier.
Yeah, like you turn
Yeah.
you turn on Rainier off Jackson.
It's like super
and it's like
easy.
a half mile from there, and it's
If you take the
it's easy to
Rainier
find.
exit
You just
off
follow
I-90 and go
Google.
north, you're right there. But San Fernando chicken. When I asked Rosella, like, what Peruvian food is there in the city? Because I don't know.
Anticuchos.
Did you ask her en español?
No, I didn't. You know me.
That's true, I do.
Anticuchos.
I need to spend 2 weeks in the country
Anticuchos.
before I can order food in their language.
Anticuchos.
It's not too bad.
Maybe a week.
That's not too bad.
Probably a week.
Anticuchos.
Spanish or Italian.
Do you want to keep
Anticuchos are marinated beef hearts, and they're amazing.
So-
it's so good. Trust me.
To stick on this
So
train
good.
for a second, I was
train?
totally going for
The
the
beef heart train?
yes.
It's not a
actually.
drink. It's
I was
a
totally
dish.
I know
following
nothing
this
about
the other day,
chicken and other
and
meat
before the
substances.
weekend, I watched the Bourdain trip to Peru with Eric Repair, and it is they're going there for chocolate because they're in this chocolate business.
Oh, I saw
And
that one. That was a really good
Bourdain's
one.
like, am I taking advantage of people? And he's trying to understand, like, this is good or bad. And they go out to get street meat one night. And they go, and it's like sweet meats. And the reason I bring this up is I was eating wings the next day. And, like, you know when you're eating food and you get something that isn't necessarily what you would normally eat, but you're like, meh, I'm going to go with it and see what that's like. I watched them eat just like a platter of whatever came out of all the animals, barbecued by this woman at this street cart, and they could not stop eating it. And they're just showing the fam on the street rolling up to this place. And he's like, yeah, we did this, and I don't know if this is what we normally would have picked. And the neighbors hate this place because it's super noisy, but it was the jam. And it is all about that stuff, dude. It's
Yeah,
the
dude.
hearts
Yeah.
and gizzards and
Oh.
this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
And it was,
So good.
but
Dude,
you
it's so
literally get this
good.
plate and you would never
Yeah, it's
know what
irony.
anything is. It's just all chopped up with amazing sauce and like a fork.
Oh, I'm
and
getting
like
hungry just
go
thinking
pick
about-
your sauces on the side and roll out. And that is the kind of stuff where when we rolled up on Bourdain a few weeks ago and wanted to talk about him forever, that is why that guy and people like him are amazing.
Yes.
Because they're like, and he likes a lot of stuff. He's a big blood sausage guy. But he's like, you know what? I'm going to try this. This is what people are doing. I'm going to do this too. This is amazing. So check it.
I agree. I watched that episode, one of the best ones. Really good one. And I will repeat again. Anticuchos. Anticuchos. I guarantee you.
Cookies?
Anticuchos.
I probably shouldn't mess with them, right?
And I guarantee you, Ro loves them.
Whole conversation is horrifying.
I mean, while we're
Dude, they
talking
look
about
pretty
chefs and
tasty.
soccer,
If I handed you these right now, is that elote? No, it's corn. Yeah. If I handed you this right now, you'd probably just eat it.
Oh, it looks amazing.
are you putting it on the screen?
It's
on Adam's
It's like
screen.
a kebab. They're
You
cooked.
can roll it
They're
up,
literally
right?
cooked on street corners.
Adam's
like
queuing it
kebabs.
up.
I'll pull it up for you.
By the
man.
way, come to SonarFeed so we can talk to you about food.
Gizzards.
Mickey's
and-
out.
Yes.
You know what we're doing? New game. Get Mickey to eat things he doesn't want. People are going to be rolling up to you in bars, and they're like, Mickey, try this one random thing. Here they are. You would eat that.
You know who we need to get to a Sounders game, by the way? While we talk about chefs,
No.
Richard Blaze is
Yeah.
a huge soccer fan. And for some reason, I have no idea, probably because I talk about Top Chef and soccer, reads Sounder at Heart.
What's that?
That's a blog some idiot started 10 years ago.
Got it. Okay.
He's on Top Chef all the time. He does other cooking shows.
Like a smaller one.
He's was a finalist but never won, and is currently a regular guest judge. He's one of the guys that, when he was on the show, was big into like molecular gastronomy, but now does like normal food and wins awards. And he loves soccer. So
So we're going to get him on the show?
I'm going to work on it. Yeah,
Cool.
I've told him next time he comes into Seattle, I've got a seat.
Should we come back to talk about the Sounders?
The who?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Mickey's like, please. Hey, can we give
So
a, like, real quick, while we're talking about things that aren't first team Sounders related, can we give a
Oh,
huge shout out to the Sounders women?
For real.
Yo, I hear they're scoring like 50 goals a game.
Undefeated.
They only won 3-1 in the national championship.
That's it.
They did have a weekend where they outscored their opponents 21-1 early in the season. 21-1 in 2 games. Yeah.
Wow.
They were only half goals.
They do have a Rain draftee on the team who is trying to finish up college, so she didn't go into the NWSL because the NWSL doesn't pay well enough to skip school. But Delgado, the cat, she scored the go-ahead goal or the game winner in the championship and will almost certainly play for the Rain next year. So their best player
Nice.
will be on the Rain next year.
Nice.
And she'll already have a championship. Future episode, we'll have Darren Swatsky by to talk about what he did with the Sounders women, what he did with the Guam national team, what his daughter's doing with the Guam women's national team, and the Tacoma Star season. So
They also had, oh, shoot. I want to say her name was Vanderyacht. She was fantastic. I mean, yeah, go back, watch some of the games, listen to the names. You're going to hear Vanderyacht and you're going to hear Delgado.
Delgado.
Yeah.
you'll see Delgado spelled both with a T and a D. It's the same player. Because Anglo-Americans suck at Spanish.
So we have a question from Twitter.
Yo,
Why is the guy from Smash Mouth there, and could his hat be worse? From Shard.
Chard, I need to let you know that it is a Think Geek D20 hat. It literally has dice on it.
Slick.
I like it, Dave,
Yeah.
for the record.
It's stylish.
And then should we talk about baby sounders?
And also
Baby
about-
Sounders.
And S2 looked actually
Well,
very
that's-
promising in their last game, even though they lost. But at least they played well. So
Fair.
baby steps, so to speak.
Narbonne's taking big. Narbonne's
Yes.
taking baby steps too.
Yeah, he's on the crutches now.
He could actually put his weight on his foot.
Be nice to see for next year.
Baby
That's when that's gonna
Sounders did amazing. 4 of the Baby Sounders that won the U17 championship are professional players with S2, and you're going to see a lot more of them now that they both aren't winning trophies with the academy and aren't still in high school. Like July and August is when you'll see the most of them because they're going back to high school in September.
Wow.
Yeah. A couple of them were training with the first team today.
They do that fairly regularly. The ones that came up through the academy regularly train with the first team. There's some interesting stuff going on with S2 right now, just in that they don't have any defensive midfielders, and David Olsen's been injured, and Nick Hines has been injured. He's finally back at as an available sub, but there's
It's been
some
amazing.
injury issues with S2 that make them struggle even more than they normally would.
But they looked pretty good last week, so that's, as I said, baby steps for them.
So what you're saying is when the baby Sounders train with the top tier, that's good, but when Magnus Wolf Ikram trains with the baby Sounders, not good.
That's a bad sign.
Got it.
That's a bad sign.
So what we should use that as a bellwether for future
Yes.
personnel
Yes.
decisions.
If you see 27-year-olds training with 16-year-olds,
Got it. And that's not to make light, but it was like, that was like your comment.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, maybe we should have considered
seen it,
this.
yeah. If I had, obviously if I had seen that coming, I would have posted that picture earlier. But
Breaking
Yes.
news from Mickey Turner.
yes. So yeah, that was a bad sign. But what are you gonna do?
Then tweet of Sounders getting some love in the squad of the week.
Oh yeah, Nico
Ladero.
and,
Yeah.
Kim Keehee.
And Kim,
also,
right? Yeah.
What a great signing that
Shout
was.
out, Lisa.
What a great signing that's been.
Yeah.
That's worked out really
I
well.
will say I was hard on him at the very beginning of the year, though. But
Yeah, those guys coming in off.
after
From
Korea
elsewhere.
held Mexico, I changed my tune.
That's that the sole reason.
Koreans are okay in my book. South Koreans, clarify that.
So curious what you guys think they'll do now that they have 3 healthy top-tier center backs. One goes to the bench, or do they change formations? Probably
They're
one
not
goes
going
to
to
the
change
bench.
formations because
They've been really good with it.
who do you want to bench? Harry Ship? Victor Rodriguez if he's healthy?
Yeah, well, that may answer
Nico
itself, I
Ladero,
suppose.
Raul Rui Diaz, Christian Roldan, Gustav Svensson, Osvaldo Alonso. Clinton Dempsey's almost certainly going to start one of the 2 games coming up this week, probably at San Jose.
Probably.
Just because...
Because it's San
I don't think
Jose.
Rui Diaz is still... He's not fit yet. Or not 100% fit.
He'll probably start at San Jose and play about 60.
How can he not be fit though? Like he literally.
Well,
didn't
he
play-
didn't play in the
much
World Cup.
I
Yeah.
guess.
I think you're going to see 3 of those people
Yeah.
rotate around at center back.
I think you're probably right.
especially
I'm sure
in
they'll
like
let you get
clunky
Marshall
schedule moments, like 3 games in a week.
Chad Marshall will sit out midweek games like he
Yeah.
usually does. He'll sit out
Yeah,
East
yelled at.
Coast
My bad.
games like he usually does.
Sorry,
Do we have any East
Bruiser.
Coast games left?
I mean,
Orlando?
at Minnesota, kind of.
Yeah, Minnesota and Orlando, but Orlando's not until October.
Yeah. Houston.
Ugh, yeah.
That is Eastern time zone, isn't it?
Houston?
No.
Close
Houston
enough.
Central.
Central?
Is it
Central, for sure.
Yeah,
There's a
about
weird spot
New
out there.
Orleans.
Maybe it's New Orleans.
New Orleans is east.
It's Eastern time zone. Yeah, it's like not that far.
Actually, yeah, New Orleans and like Panama City Beach, Florida is where like the
So
cutoff
Orlando-
is. Panhandle.
Orlando way out.
Oh, you're right. Actually, New Orleans is a central time
Central,
zone.
it is.
'Cause
Is it central?
yeah, there's
the
that
Panhandle
little bit
is
That's what
east.
it
from
is.
elections. There's that
Good call.
Yeah,
like 100-mile strip of
yeah,
Florida
Yeah.
that
So it's Orlando is left.
Is that it?
Shout
Like
out to
east-
Chris Henderson
Orlando
following
in
us on Twitter right
October.
now.
Nice.
He enjoyed the Peruvian food conversation.
With the Anticuchos photo. Anticuchos.
I don't think. I
Anticuchos.
think that's it.
Orlando's the real east, but then we got a
Orlando
Minnesota and a Houston.
Out there. Yeah.
That's not bad.
So
I mean, that's
central,
not bad.
central, or GTFO. So that's cool. Good. There are a couple of spots though where there's like this. It's not as condensed as we've had in other seasons.
Right.
But I could totally see a week like this where you're going to get Chad or somebody else sits, and you're going to have Deuce start. I would think.
in midweek games, such that are left.
Well, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little bit of a
It's a good problem to have.
Mortal Kombat finish him kind of thing against San Jose. Like, put him away.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you're going to go to Minnesota, who's rolling.
Yeah.
Who's, even if it's just one match, like, looks solid. It's at their place. Yeah.
Yeah, they killed him last year.
But New York at home next week, and they've got a real quick turn.
Yeah.
They play Thursday.
Yeah, in Orlando.
Yeah.
At night. Yeah, late at night.
Yeah, they have basically the second longest flight in MLS.
I mean, they're probably chartering that one.
One way or the other, yeah.
Right. Yeah, this week, I think you have a chance for
6 points.
a
Gotta go.
chunk of points.
Dude, 6 points right here, 6-game winning streak, or 6-game unbeaten with a 4-0-2 record.
That gets you right back into it.
Totally different season.
Yeah.
What's interesting is like the actual points on the standings don't actually get you right back into
Yeah,
it.
that's true. Because they're
But-
still so far behind.
It really declares striking distance in a way that the Sounders haven't had since like week 2.
And that gets you probably to catch, or the chance to catch Minnesota when you play them.
Yeah, if they win at San Jose, they
And-
will pass Minnesota.
No, because Minnesota won last night. So that,
They're at 22.
no, they're at 25.
25. Oh,
Yeah,
so
'cause-
we can get to... Who's at 22? Damn it.
Minnesota's at 28.
Yeah, even worse. Yeah, again, they weren't, they win
But
unexpected games.
They've
and-
played 2 more games, though.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
So they're at a .33.
We're going to catch them and surpass them. No
But
question.
here's the staggering thing. Sounders are in 19th in the league overall. Minnesota's in 11th.
What?
Yeah, they're having a good year.
8 points up. But, like, that's a big swing for 8 points. So, to your point earlier, when you look at the league in one table, it completely changes your perspective on where your team may or may not actually be in the grand scheme of things.
I remember the 22. It's Orlando that's at 22. It's the next step up in the Shield standings. The next step up in the West standings is pretty rough because it's Vancouver and it's 6 points.
Yeah. And
so
they've played 21 as well.
Yeah. So you can catch them just
but you
on
can
your
catch
games.
them this weekend.
Yeah.
If things work out correctly, it can be a lot of fun. Speaking of if things can work out correctly, it's going to be like 90 degrees for the game.
Oh, my God.
You think they're going to change that kickoff?
Well, it's hard because Portland's
No.
already contacted ESPN about moving their
Moving their game.
because they're also going to be 90-plus degrees. They're also like
What time's their game?
both games are nationally televised.
2 and 5, I think.
Sounders are at 2.
Yeah. Portland's
So
at 5.
peak. My
Sounders
Sounders inside
second
information
half.
is that peak for us temperature wise is 4 or 5 p.m. They're not changing the time.
Probably not.
We're playing at 2. Could we play at 11 or something?
No, the
I mean-
other choice is a 7 or a 7:30 to make it a night
I don't think
game,
it
but it
happens.
won't be on TV. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we play at 2.
I mean-
they're not changing.
They might move it up
You mean
to like a noon.
right? That's what I'm saying. Earlier.
They could go earlier.
I could see them going earlier. I don't think they would change it otherwise.
Because if they go earlier, they're only going to need a water break in the second half as opposed to
First
both
and
halves.
second, yeah.
Because it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot all week. And hydrate. Or just drink margaritas and
Yes.
pass out.
I was
That's what
about to
Hugo
say,
and I are
I'm
doing.
hydrate right now.
Third one?
I did order you a third one.
Jeez, dude. Finishing this H2 up.
The Berliner Pub, 3rd Main, downtown Renton.
Ahead of the curve. Woo! So we can talk about predictions and other things a little bit later.
Do we have read tweets or questions?
I
Aren't
think
those our elements that are
Do
left?
we want to touch on a couple of these things? Let's touch on that for sure. Let's do it. So, if you haven't seen the Aussie shirt that's out there,
Yes.
the URL's up on the screen right now, cottonbureau.com, which you've probably seen for some other things, including the
It's
shirt
being
that Lisa
retweeted
is
right
wearing,
now.
Constellation & Co.,
Empathy,
Sarah
kindness,
et
respect.
al. But it's cottonbureau.com/products/el-corazon. What is it? 30 something bucks for the one style? 33. They are nice shirts. So there are two models of shirts.
This is a strong
The
against
cheaper
cancer, right?
Shirt, it is. The cheaper of the two is better than most shirts that you have purchased in a store. The nicer of the two is blowing that one away. So Cotton Bureau is no joke when it comes to fabric. Support cancer research and funding, right? So bring it on. You can see that on the Twitters. Who's it? Zach Scott Fan Club has posted that. You could check it out. I know that Ozzy and a bunch of the other Sounders players have tweeted about it recently, so that should be one you can find.
It'll
You can
be
also follow
regularly,
our Twitter account right now. It is retweeted.
and it'll regularly
Hugo.
be in the Major League Soccer portion of Sounder at Heart. Because we like charity and we like cool shirts.
No question.
So what do you
Kids
got
are all
next?
right. Are we reading tweets?
We are reading tweets. This one comes to us from Megan. This is a series of quotes. Do you want to read these? I guess I'll
Hey
read.
now.
You're an all-star. Put your damn face on.
Your dog is so cute. What's her name? Maggie. Maggie.
adorable.
Adorable. It's short for maggot-consuming necrotic tissue around a festering open wound.
What?
Maggie.
The person who tweeted it is the Ask a Mortician host on YouTube.
Ask a mortician.
Recommended station. It's very good.
And by recommended, you mean what?
Educational and funny.
Is it like Pimple
That
Popper?
is true. I have spent enough time talking
Better than
with
Pimple Popper.
Susanna and Michelle and Emily and some other friends of the show who have told me way
They're
more
not Tom's friends. They're
about
friends
the
of the show.
assassination of small mice than I have ever wanted to know and how it has benefited science. So I'm going to go with that. Ask a mortician on YouTube, did you say? Got it. Okay. Get in. That's all we got. We went light on that.
The other question I got is.
you
or-
got a question,
I didn't
not a
get one. I saw
retweets?
one. Are
We
the
did get
Sounders
one.
just going after the Peruvian national team? Yes. Bring them.
I mean, having eaten Peruvian food, I am in.
All the way in.
Remember when what it took to get Nico was bringing Alvaro Fernandez back, and then they won a MLS Cup?
True.
What if what it took to get Raul Ruiz Diaz is get the 11 goal and 5 assists in the Portuguese league winger?
His neighbor from his childhood.
That'd work out.
Done.
Also
I'm okay with
in. So we got a question. Dan wants to know our thoughts on Dempsey's role for the rest of the year. Is he a super sub, rotational player, still a starter when he's healthy? What do we think?
Yes, no.
Okay.
Oh.
I was going to go no, yes, no.
I was going to
No,
go
yes,
yes,
yes.
no, yes.
You think no? I think he's going to spot start. Like as I was saying earlier, he's going to
Midweek
he's
games.
probably starting the San Jose game. It'll be interesting because Dempsey's one of those players that when he's around other high talents, he's played extraordinarily well.
Mm-hmm.
But when the teams tried to rest on his shoulders,
It's not there
not
anymore.
there. Like, remember when he played with Oba and EJ
Oh, we
and things
remember
were
that,
magical.
dude.
When he just played with
Oh.
Oba, things were magical.
Oh.
When he played with Nico, things were very well. But when he's on his own with the Sounders, things have not been
No,
great.
No, he needs talent around him. What about him and Raul, though?
That's kind of the chance here. Like,
Yeah, I think the last chance saloon type deal. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally
Magical, no look,
rereading
see-through.
The Old Man in the Sea to have a better understanding of what's going on with Clint Dempsey.
Why don't you just go fishing? Just go fishing. You'll get it.
I'm
yeah.
I'm also rewatching Logan.
Oh, that's depressing.
It's a
So-
really good film.
Hold on.
Logan?
The Wolverine one?
Yeah.
The last Wolverine film.
Like legit, really good.
It is really
movie.
good, though.
Yeah.
But why are you watching that, too?
Why? Because my theme with the last 6 months of Clint Dempsey are the aged hero that has to rediscover himself for his final moments. And that's the old man in the sea, goes without catching a fish for 50 some odd days, and his village thinks that he's cursed. And then he catches the marlin, but he can't actually bring it in because sharks attack. And the good news is the village does realize that he is the hero that he's always been. Logan has to sacrifice himself in order to keep...
Are you spoiling the movie right now? Keep doing it.
I think you're past the statute of limitations on that.
So yeah,
on Logan?
I'm looking at things like this. I borrow from Ender's Game way too much. So Mazer Rackham, who comes back essentially for that last moment to educate Ender, because I think that's where Clint Dempsey is. He has to discover within himself those last few moments that can end his playing time on an amazing note. And probably or the winner to make the playoffs, something like that. Because what we saw last year with Clint, he had 12 goals in the regular season and 3 in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was great.
There was no indication at the end of last year that he was done. There's plenty of indication this year that he's done. And I think that the way Clint Dempsey goes out is a way that we'll remember and notice. Because I'm big on narrative, and I want that narrative to be true. But also, you look at what Clint Dempsey has been to American soccer and to MLS, to the Revolution and to the Sounders. He's got a couple moments in him, and I think he makes one more U.S. national team game, and I bet he scores in that too.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll get one more game.
I think I would. So I would answer this, and I would say yes, yes, and yes. I think Dempsey right now saw someone like Rui Diaz show up, and a few of us have talked about this a little bit offline, but I think he is the guy who goes, that dude and I, are on a level. I want to play with that. Let's go do shit. And whether he is the 67th minute super angry Dempsey sub, or he randomly starts, or whatever it is, I think Dempsey plays randomly, and I think you get angry Clint Dempsey for the rest of the season. I just think he's, in a good way, cocky enough to want to ball with the players that are on the field right now. Dave shaking his head.
I think we'll see.
Right. Or not at all. I don't know.
If we don't see it this week,
oh shit,
he might just fucking go fishing.
Pull a Griffey.
I mean, he
did. Get
He
into
did
his car and
drive to Montana and call the team. Hey guys, I retired.
Yeah.
He did
Montana
tweet today.
Yeah.
Landon will definitely come back to break that with LAFC. Oh, God.
I pay for that. That'd be fantastic.
Let's just be clear. That is not anywhere near things he would do.
Can we take a brief moment to talk about the worst GM in MLS, Chris Klein, who somehow has more money than God and has put together the worst defense while spending more on it than possible? Daniel Sturridge is a better center back than the 2 TAM guys they signed. Servando Carrasco is a better defensive midfielder than the 2 DPs they have in the area.
Yeah, the kitchen too is back there, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Kitchen is like a TAM, and Jonathan Dos Santos is a. Honestly, Servando Carrasco should probably start. And I understand why Siggy isn't doing it, and I understand it's funny.
He didn't do it when he was here. So
well, no, I mean, Servando wasn't going to beat out Osvaldo Alonso.
Sure, peak Aussie.
And that was when Servando was here. Now, Servando had 15 starts here.
Yeah,
but
he was a good player.
You can look at who the Schmitz brought in, because technically Kurt's the GM, and then you can look at who Chris Klein brought in, and you're like, incompetent player, Chris Klein. Bargain shopping, Kurt Schmidt. And
Weird.
Well, they're
No
trying
one
to get
has
rid
seen this
of,
model before.
Giovanni. They offered him up to a couple of Mexican teams, and no one would take him at his salary
Gio?
because he makes like $5 million a year, and so no Mexican team was going to take him at that price.
And Gio
But I
isn't
think-
the problem.
But
Like, Giovanni Dos Santos was a best 11 quality player just over a year ago.
2 years ago.
2 years. And like,
2 years ago.
But
He's
here's
still
the thing.
capable.
I do feel like it's not that you need to criticize Ziggy on this. I feel like there are coaches that look at the players they have or have been dealt, depending on the quality of their team's front office, and adapt accordingly,
Oh my God.
and play or don't play players. And there are others that go, wow, I've got Alonso and Roldan. Let's play them together and
well, Siggy played them
devastate
together.
people. He did, but that's not the case for every combination of player.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there have been players that he, as not the only coach, that has been guilty of not playing certain people in certain positions because they just didn't feel like changing what they wanted
They have
to
their
do.
boys.
I just
Yeah.
think that Chris Klein is going to get Siggy Schmidt fired, and it's
And it
not
is
that,
not good.
and it's weird because like Siggy's on this run, but
I was about to say.
um,
Zlatan's probably going to.
it's
Keep that from
Zlatan
happening.
and Ola Kamara, a little bit of Gio Dos Santos. Jonathan Dos Santos is garbage.
Whoa.
Garbage.
No.
Dude, the Galaxy are not good.
When the microphones are off, I'm going to tell you a
said that
fun
they're
story.
like top 3, 4 hottest team in the league right now.
Yeah, they're on a 6-game unbeaten streak.
Dude, the Sounders are really not a good team before the last, 3 weeks? And are rolling right now. That's where the Galaxy have been.
Yeah, the Galaxy are a
They were-
wacky organization right now, and it is clear that they have
Identity crisis.
like I've never gotten the impression that Garth and Schmetz are on different pages. It is clear that Klein and Schmidt are on different pages, and I don't know why the LA Galaxy as an organization are backing Chris Klein like they have. I mean, they
Because
fired
they're getting
Peter Vagenas.
stomped by LAFC
Did they fire
for
Vagenas?
relevance.
Or they demoted him.
They demoted him to a
yeah.
position meaningless enough that, like, he goes to charity soccer games.
Dude,
There's
they're
a
getting
question in the
killed
chat, by the way.
from a marketing
Chat
standpoint.
question.
I don't.
It is a great question. From Kimmy, what do you think about Bruin and Ruidiaz being on the field together? What do you think a lineup will look like? To me, right now, if this was March 1st, 2019, and Will Bruin is still on the team, those are the people starting up top.
You switch back to a 2-forward set?
And it's Bruin.
No.
And if Morris is healthy, I think he's on the wing.
Well, but they're not going to have
Right
a
now.
winger and
No.
a 2-forward set.
I think it's a different. I think we're playing something different than we are right now. If Morris comes back and Bruin is still on this team,
You
You're
can't
not
have
gonna-
a 2-forward
what, are you gonna sit
set
one of
with a
them?
winger.
I'm gonna put Jordan in there if Jordan is back to two seasons ago. Shape.
Yeah, like you're not going to play him as a wingback, so you can't do like a 3-5-2.
no.
Yeah.
I think he's playing a different position. If
No, I agree with
those
you, Dave.
3 players are on this team
You
next
can't
season,
play a 3-5-2 with Morris and Bruin and Rui Diaz.
And the
I
way
think
really
you
do
have
a
to find
4-4-2
another
with
way
them
to get
either.
them out on the
You
field.
don't want to do a
4-3.
flat 4-4-2 because that would
Maybe you can do a 4-3-3.
yeah, you can go back to
You
the
could do that.
3-forward set like when they had Oba, Valdez, Dempsey, Morris,
Yeah.
and the goal
For
was
like
to
a
have-
week.
Well, the preseason was they're all going to play. We're going to play with 3.
But I think
see a 4-3-3.
But I think one of them playing like either not withdrawn, but like slightly outside. Like you're going to have to stagger that a little bit.
You can have like if you did a narrow 4-3-3 like they were going to do that season, you'd have Bruin at the point, Rui Diaz running off the right flank, and Jordan off the left.
On the left.
And that'd be a lot of fun because then you can have
Nico
in the hole
with
and then Roldan and whatever the defensive midfielder
But
is.
you
That's going to be fun.
have to play those players.
I don't know that you
If
have
they're
to
all
play Will
healthy,
Bruin.
though,
And I don't know that you have to play Jordan Morris.
I don't
Jordan
know.
Morris
Maybe
has
we
to
just
earn
go
time
into
again.
next season
And
with
he's probably not
depth
gonna be ready
that's
until
far beyond the
March
depth
or
we had this
April.
season.
There's a reason he's not on the DL.
Yeah. He has been practicing.
Now the good news is the Sounders are going to make a run right now, so we don't have to worry about next year. Because one of the things I hate doing is worrying about next year when this year you're capable of trophies. And I still think they have it in them to make the playoffs. And if they make the playoffs with, as I was saying, a 10-2-3 type record to end the season, they make the playoffs with a record like that, they're going to be dangerous.
Right, you're running. It's
Because
you started the run early.
They're probably going to get the 4th seed,
Yeah.
as they always do, finish 4th in the West or better,
Yeah.
as they always do, host a playoff game. There's no team in the West that you look at and say, clear
You can't
Cup
beat
favorites.
them, yeah.
And that's one of the interesting things about the West is that it's deep with good teams, but there are no great teams. The East has great teams. Atlanta is a great team. Red Bulls are a great team. New York City is a great team. Those three are great teams, and any three of them could win a double this year, and I wouldn't be surprised. But there is no team in the West right now capable of winning a double.
Yeah, probably right.
Well, challenge accepted. No one thinks. Well, no,
The Sounders can't win the
Okay.
double.
Yeah, that's not.
Never mind.
Unless they go 15-0-0.
Yeah. I'm still only get them
Challenge
to.
accepted.
Well, I get them to 70 points.
Literally nothing surprises me anymore. So I'm like, whatevs.
Why not?
Maybe. I think you're going to have those players on the field. I don't know what the combination looks like. And again, it depends on how Morris comes back. You have no idea.
Hey, can I
Bruins
point
had
out-
a rough season. You have no idea.
Really quickly, if they go 15-0-0, there's a 20% chance they get the Shield.
I'd go so far to say is if they go 15-0-0, they're getting the goddamn
They're
shield.
getting the shield. No, but really,
Remember when there were 3 designated players that were all forwards on the team, and Jordan Morris was just a homegrown player, and then he started more games than one of the DPs on the squad.
Yep.
God, I miss that Jordan Morris.
We all
Let's
do,
hope he's
man.
back.
We all do.
Do you remember when our biggest complaint was Jordan Morris's left foot?
The left foot.
Yeah.
Now we're like, I didn't like the way I saw someone eat sushi one day at a restaurant.
I'm gonna read something from a Sounder at Heart staffer that he doesn't know I'm reading it, so I'm not going to give his name. But he said,
It's Jeremiah.
I've encountered the part of Twitter where Sounders fans complain about the paper today's letter was printed on.
I saw that. And having not touched the paper yet, I can't quantify this. However, paper matters.
Yeah.
Paper matters.
But that was a pretty serious moment on Twitter today.
Sorry I quoted you, Mike.
Damn.
You're complaining about the paper?
That's what happens after you have a shutout.
The things to complain about are they get a little tenuous.
You know, had that penalty not been given back, we might not be complaining about the paper right now.
Of course, the smiley emoji makes it all okay.
So it's approaching the 9 p.m. Pacific hour.
Already?
We haven't gotten a copyright violation yet in this episode. So that's a plus.
Good.
It's calmed down.
251.
It's actually a beautiful night here at the Berliner.
3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Ahead of the curve.
We have 2 Sounders matches this weekend. Or this week, excuse me. We have San Jose on Saturday at
Wednesday.
San Jose.
Wednesday.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
On
Tom is
Wednesday.
just kidding.
7:30.
That's what I get for drinking all these Diet Cokes.
Coke Zero is better.
NYCFC next Sunday.
Sunday
At
2.
2. We're
We
all going to
assume.
die.
S2 game Thursday night.
We
Historic
are
Cheney Stadium.
Sounders crazy this week.
That's the Las Vegas Lights. So if you want to see whatever in the world happened to Freddie Adu and Sammy Ochoa, head down to Cheney Stadium.
Apparently,
Thursday?
they are not traveling the llamas.
I have begged and pleaded with them. I'm going to make
Yeah.
another request. And they may wind up signing Usain Bolt by then. Because
would be
literally,
amazing.
Usain Bolt is like
I
in
thought he was in
negotiations. The teams listed were like Australia, or the nations listed were Australia, Malaysia, and the United States. And it turns out that it's literally Las Vegas
Yeah.
that's trying to sign Bolt
Oh my God, I would totally go.
to Freddie Adu, Sammy Ochoa,
Usain Bolt.
and Usain Bolt.
Oh my God.
And Zach Mathers.
They also have Zach Mathers, who
Yeah.
is the leading scorer in the history of S2. Speaking of S2, Darwin Jones is now with Orange County SC, the
Oh.
LAFC affiliate.
The
So he's
former
not-
Blues.
He's not kicking it with Yedlin anymore.
No, he's no longer traveling England with Yedlin. And Vic Mansray with the Charleston Battery.
What happened with that?
It just didn't work out. Let's put it that way.
So it's like Sounders players either like come from the Battery or go to the Battery. Cool.
Remember Alex Kasky?
Yeah, where's he at?
I'd have to look it up. I think he's still in the game.
I actually
think he
had
still
him
plays.
show up on a roster of mine in FIFA a few years ago. Like all of a sudden he was on my roster and I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, so lots of soccer, particularly if you're in the South End. It's pretty, like, I mean, I'm going to try to drive from Bellevue to Tacoma for the game, so for the S2 game. You should come, though. Cheney Stadium in the summer is amazing.
Yeah, you get a great view from the outside.
Go to the party deck or the
know what?
bullpen.
There are tall boy koozies now.
That does help.
So you can put your Coors Light.
Yo, I'm gonna be in Bend, Oregon, in 96-degree weather. That
Oh,
day.
I got a place to show you there.
Really? Where? What?
Boneyard Brewing just opened their first ever tap
Boneyard
room.
Brewing.
Like, they have a restaurant there now.
In Bend?
Yeah.
Done. I have to kill
There-
like 3 hours before I head
Full
back.
disclosure, I sold Boneyard.
All right. So Sounders Wednesday, S2 Thursday, Sounders Sunday. How many points?
Between the three
All three?
games?
All 3 games.
Nina!
6.
Nina!
Don't hit me, Casey.
I'm
Adam?
going to say... I'll say
Se-
7. I'll be optimistic and say 7.
9.
Nina!
7.
Nina is 9.
Go with 7. Do we have any moves before we come back here next week?
Yes.
Oof.
How many involve Waylon Francis?
God, I had a
Possibly
dream
one.
that they could
Whoa.
shoot Waylon Francis for Justin Miram. Made my
we didn't
heart
talk
go
about that.
pitter-patter.
Let's talk about that briefly.
Holy wow, what?
Justin
what?
Miram
It's definitely not going to Cincinnati, apparently.
is apparently not happy in Orlando.
Oof. No. No.
He's been the subject to some racist commentary from supposed fans of Orlando City.
Fans.
He's had a bad season. His coach got fired, the one that he kind of wanted to play under.
The team has had a bad season.
The team has had a bad season, and so he wants out after just requesting that he wanted out. And he's trying to pull the Griffey and go back home again, except that Columbus doesn't want to. Like,
They want him. They just don't want to pay.
Orlando's like, can we have take-backsies
Yeah,
and
that's
get
basically what it
everything
is.
and it's not going to work out that way. They're going to get basically
Just a Miram.
half the allocation money
Yeah, you
that
don't
they traded.
get that. That's not how that works.
It's a half year later, and he's going to turn 30 during this season.
He's older, had a terrible season, and
Yeah.
no, that's
Like,
not how that
if you can
works.
get him for 400 allocation money and maybe a senior roster player, then it's probably a good deal. Maybe as a bench player, but it's gonna take a while to figure out where he belongs, and that's probably not the Crew, and it's not FC Cincinnati, and it's not Orlando, it's not Portland. Portland had been mentioned, but that seems like a recycled rumor, according to everybody I know down in Portland. So
I mean, not an American, so
Miram is.
it was a joke.
Oh,
I don't know that that's funny anymore.
Actually, after today, it is not funny at
yes.
all. Which we should talk about that.
What about what? Mesut Ozil?
Mesut Ozil. There was actually him and the gentleman from Belgium,
Lukaku.
Lukaku had made similar statements.
And there was
I mean,
a third, I thought.
Let's just be honest. Like a lot of the
Dude,
players.
it's
This is,
super.
like,
I gotta tell you,
most
that
dual-
shit is accurate.
But the statement that the DFB made after Messi's statement was awful.
I mean, then his agent torched them all.
I haven't read the whole thing, but I saw the summary.
What was the summary?
He basically had the receipts.
What?
And
Mesut Ozil, yeah.
his
agent?
But like,
yeah.
I see why
Can you
players
send me that
are like,
link?
I'm
Please?
gonna
I
go
have to
back
find it
and
again. It was on
play
Twitter.
for the country I grew up
But I'll try to
in
find
and
it.
left or whatever because of shit like that. Like, either if you like, I don't want to agree with people being consistent one way or the other, but Özil's a like pretty serious player, and he's like, when I'm good, I'm German. When we don't win, I'm not.
this is
But
really
super shitty.
Well, somebody brought up that like part of the reason why this exploded is because his I think the quote was tone deaf appearance with Erdogan.
Doing this for years.
He's been posing with the murderous dictator for years because that's not something that he's been doing.
The way he's been treated
What-
is nothing new.
The recent spark to the controversy came up because he posed with Erdogan.
Erdogan, yeah.
Erdogan is
He's not a nice
one
guy.
of the 10 worst dictators in the world right now.
So,
Didn't he have his thugs beat up protesters in D.C.?
Literally did have his thugs beat up protesters in D.C.
So two other members of the
Yeah.
German national team went and posed with Putin and had a whole big press conference with Putin where they said they admired Putin, which they confirmed Russia. Was that not a problem?
And that was probably during the World Cup.
No, that was before. That was like a week
Yeah.
before the Erdogan picture.
So during the World Cup. Because the
No,
Erdogan...
the Erdogan picture was before the World Cup.
No, he posed post-World Cup, I thought.
It was pre-World Cup on him.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he deserved any of the criticism, but what sparked the wave of criticism was the fact that, plus the there is a long-standing anti-immigrant, anti-Turkish thing in Germany that goes back about 30 years, because maybe 40 years now from the Turkish-Greek war over Cyprus. A lot of Turks fled to Germany, and it's like the largest minority group in Germany. And the Mesut thing is basically an encapsulation of German feelings towards the Turkish-German populace. It is not just about soccer. It goes well beyond that because, I mean, the whole. Not the Berliner pub, but the Berliner down in Pioneer Square with the Doner kebab,
Yeah.
being a German dish is all about Turks moving to Germany. So I would say use the Mesut Ozil thing as an opportunity to do two things. Understand how you yourself approach people with multiple ancestries, and then two, use it as an opportunity to understand Near East and Middle East influence in central Germany and how that's changed, particularly from the early 80s to the present. I'm big on sports as cross-cultural communication, and there are two different ways that you can use this opportunity to understand racism in sports better, as well as just in general Turkey and Germany and how those populaces
And I think
interact.
there's specificity in certain instances, and not all of us are going to understand everything about Germany and how people have immigrated there from Turkey or wherever. I think for me, the thing, just in reading a little bit about the Justin Miram stuff this week, it's frustrating because he was born in the United States, correct?
Yep.
And
Michigan.
is playing for Iraq, and like he's getting killed for that. I'm talking, when I mentioned that before, I'm talking specifically about which national team he plays for. Like, take 5 seconds and be aware. Like, that's the thing that just kills me in those situations. Is like, are people not paying attention at all? And like when it reaches the point of these international, like not just super, like mega star players, like aside from the fact that Urzel is just a disgustingly good international player, forget his club play, these people are like, they're in that 90-second Adidas ad that was playing all through the World Cup. Like, globally recognized players don't feel comfortable playing in the country that they call home is really unfortunate. And the thing for me that was frustrating was, like, you have a player in Miram who, and we discussed this a year ago, if not longer ago, when there was the conversation about which team or where would he affiliate himself with, Iraq or wherever, that like he lives here, plays here, that's his deal. And say what you want about Orlando or any other city, but for someone to just like kind of, I mean, clearly walk away, didn't play with the team for a reason, and that either means typically like you're getting moved or you have an issue. And if the truth is that he has an issue, that may say a lot more, again, about America and the state of affairs that we're currently in than I even want to have a conversation about, but what we should be having. And that's where, and we don't have a ton of time, and we're way hot right now, but karaoke hasn't started yet, so we should touch it. But the Portland LAFC Dio thing, which we will probably never get to the total bottom of. And there's you know, Eileen and others have brought it up, and like, is the whole thing about, was it Open Cup, right? So did Portland protest because of what was going on with Dio going to Instagram, which I don't think is the case.
Yeah.
I think he just did that, and they protested what they wanted to protest. But he, you know, the comments allude to the fact that someone on the field called him a racial slur, and that's just like so ridiculously unacceptable. In the same week that there's conversation about how Portland is like the worst team about bringing in American talent overall. It was like a comedy of errors from like a social scenario about Portland. And I think we saw some things in the past from, you know, Robbie Rogers had commented on play, not necessarily here, but in general. It's the first time in a minute that we've had a player, especially one who's good and is like really stepped up and has been a quality star player for their team, come out and call people out publicly. Didn't call a press conference, didn't call the newspaper, like went to his own space digitally and was like, this happened. I don't know, like we may have a bigger topic on our hands here than just Justin Miram in Orlando. Like, well, total opposite sides of the country, you know, issues going on that are interconnected. Mickey, you were going to say something.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that obviously MLS has gone to great lengths with the Don't Cross the Line campaign. And
by featuring people that have crossed the line, Jermaine Jones.
Yeah.
That's Coach Jermaine Jones.
Yes.
No, that's PDL player Jermaine Jones.
Well, that's another discussion.
He suited up for a PDL
that
team.
That is true, yes.
Like
California something or other, I think it was.
Sorry,
but, they've gone the great lengths with that campaign, and there haven't been many reported incidents, and so it's interesting that this is coming up now. So I'll be interested to see what the Portland investigation, quote unquote, comes up with, if anything.
It's interesting because he didn't say if it was a player or a fan.
Right. The implication was it was a player.
I don't know.
Based on,
I think the assumption was that it was a player. I don't know that it was implied.
Yeah. What I've read is assumption. I will say to Mickey's point, and I think we've all talked about this offline a little bit. It feels like it's gone in that direction. I don't know if that's warranted or not. However, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. So
I mean, MLS has had a pretty zero tolerance policy since they came up with the don't cross the line. So it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they do about it once Portland comes up with whatever findings they come up with. But most of the homophobic stuff has gotten smacked down for that.
For sure.
Obviously, locally here, we had experience with one player that had that problem, got suspended, Mark Birch. And so I think there's been a couple of others as well. So if the name comes out and if it was a player, one assumes that he may not be a part of Portland's organization much longer.
Yeah.
But if it was a fan, then there'll be some type of sanction, I assume. But again, when was that game? Was it last?
Midweek.
So a little under a week ago.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah.
So by tomorrow it'll have been essentially a week. So I assume their investigation has to be coming towards the end.
Right.
So someone should probably ask them about that down there.
Yeah. So we took this episode in a different direction than we normally do towards the end. But that stuff is important. It's an interesting spot. Miram, I know Dave and I have talked about him a number of times in the past as being somebody we thought we'd appreciate seeing on the field in red green.
It basically comes down to price, but he fits what they need and how they play with the guy that you don't want a winger that hugs the line with how they play with the attacking. The band of three tends to be narrow and interchange, and that's what he does very well. But at the price they're asking...
no way.
And even at half the price, like Sam Seychelles said might be possible today.
How long's his contract for? I think it's for another couple of years, isn't it?
One more year under full contract.
And then options.
An option in
2019 he's full guaranteed, and then 2020 options. Because I really wouldn't want him past the next 2 years anyway.
Right.
Just based on the overhaul, at least to some degree, we assume the Sounders are going to be undertaking in the next year or so. So he's kind of a pass for me, just for personal preference. I'd rather see them go in a different direction, but certainly this year he'd be quite helpful.
Yeah. So one last question we got from Hunch Punch in the chat. Do we see Rui Diaz start on Wednesday?
I think Dave says yes. I say probably 60-40 he starts. I think there's a decent chance he doesn't.
I agree.
Just because I think he's still getting the fitness.
I think they want to play him at home.
Yeah.
Sunday.
He's a 60-minute starter for the next two games.
I can see that. I can see that.
Which I think we're probably all okay with.
Yeah.
Totally.
By the way, Monday nights at the Berliner Pub, third, whatever, they do karaoke still.
The Berliner has a legendary karaoke history here in Renton. Definitely come out. Legendary.
Oh, last thing I'll say on the legal front.
Legal update.
Last week there was a lot of stuff happening with obviously Miami got their stadium to the next stop. Nashville's got their stadium going through.
Who?
Nashville. SC.
Oh.
They're coming in like 2 years, I think.
Gotcha.
Columbus Crew, I predicted this morning that there would be limited news this week. I am probably going to be wrong about that based on what information I've been able to gather. So there will probably be some very interesting tidbits coming out here in the next couple of days, especially after tomorrow.
Wow.
I'll leave that cryptic message as
so we'll come back to that next week.
Yeah, everybody follow him.
Basically, I was
set up your notifications for his tweets.
My prediction was it's going to turn out to be wrong.
You know, it's okay. That
yes,
yeah.
That means I have more stuff to write about. So,
where do you write?
SoccerESQ.com, maybe other places shortly. There's another cryptic message for you.
Excellent.
Set your notifications on his tweets.
So we should probably close it down before we get karaoke'd out for the night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here at the Berliner Pub.
Yes, the pleasure has been all yours.
Thank you, folks, watching us at home.
Hold on, I got to plan a little seat.
Oh, God, Dave.
Y'all have plans for September 2nd. That's all.
Oh, wait.
September 2nd.
Wait, before I forget. July 28th. La Copita. Yes, July 28th. La Copita, Starfire, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come out. We need people to come out. Just
To the Little Cup?
to the Little Cup. Little Cup, La Copita. 6
Get
years
those
doing
tweets out
it.
there.
See that?
Yeah.
I know Spanish.
Yeah, no, just getting kids out there and watch the we just really want the kids to have like folks watching them besides their parents. You know what I mean? Like people to come out and watch. So come out, hang out. There is going to be food. I can't say what because we're technically on Starfire grounds, but we found a way to get food to the event. Let's just put it that way.
Trust Ugo.
Yes, when it comes to food, trust me.
Rock on. Any last words?
Predictions? Do we want to do that?
I mean, we did points.
Oh, we did
9.
points.
Yeah,
we did
points.
points. That's fine.
9.
You had too much water.
Nina.
That's good enough.
Anything else?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Buenas noches, todo el mundo.
Downtown Red.